This woman's husband knows that he's about to be blindsided. He's heard the things that she said. He just didn't give a damn. And now she is getting to that point where she is fed up and she's about to walk away because now she has no F's left to give. She posted in the 2X chromosome subreddit, "My husband finally changed and I can't make myself care." Once you cross the line from, actually caring, still talking about things, voicing your concerns to the point of F it, oh well, to the point of apathy, that relationship is over. When she's still talking, she's caring. Once she gets to the point of F it, there's no resuscitating that. There's no resuscitating that relationship. She is done. Let's look at the post though. She says, almost 10 years of asking him to take responsibility for something, anything around the house, instead of pretending he was the only one living here. When we first moved in together, after getting engaged, is when I learned that he only cleaned his previous apartment when I was coming over. In reality, he was content to live in complete filth. He was happy to wash one dish at a time, even if there was a sink of dirty dishes. He resisted doing any communal chores by criticizing me. It's like he couldn't fathom that another person shouldn't have to clean up after him just to use a common area. And any attempt to discuss mutual responsibility led to a blow-up fight because anger issues. And the thing is, this is the reason why it irks the hell out of me when other women say stuff like, "Did you talk to him?" or "You should just choose better." How do you vet a liar? If somebody is cleaning up right before you come over, you don't know that they live like a slob the other 6 days that week. You don't know because that person is lying to you. He's lying by omission. You cannot vet a liar. So I really wish women, because I know that men are going to say whatever the hell they want to say. I wish women would stop saying things like, "You should have chose better. Couldn't be me." Well, you don't know if you're going to be lied to by another person. Anyways, let's go back to her story. "I stayed when I shouldn't have because I was afraid of being alone. But it's worse to be lonely in a relationship. It's worse to feel that anything you want is unreasonable or that having any sort of living standards is a personal issue that requires therapy. That I wasn't accepting him for who he was because apparently being an angry slob is an inherent trait and not something that can be changed." After almost 10 years, I told him I can't do this anymore and I wanted a divorce. He had been doing his own personal counseling on anger, and I will admit I have seen a change, so I agreed to couples counseling. He has picked up the slack around the house, doing dishes, cleaning up after himself, but I can't make myself care. I asked for years for something to change, and he only changed when it threatened his status quo. For years, he knew what I wanted and refused to do anything about it. Turned it back on me and made it my problem. When someone turns it around on you, that is a manipulation tactic called Darvo. She had a specific issue. We are living in filth, and much of your mess is part of the problem. She had a specific problem. She brought it to her partner. He said, "What? That's not my fault. That's a you problem. What are you even talking about?" That's called Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim offender. So keep that in mind when you have a real actual problem that you want to solve in a relationship, whether it be romantic, familial, at work, or whatnot. Darvo is a manipulation tactic so they don't have to take responsibility for their actions. She says, "I am filled with rage over the fact that he knew and did nothing, that he was capable and did nothing. He tells me he loves me, and it means nothing because he told me he loved me for 10 years but refused to show it through action. If he wanted to, he would, applies in marriages too, but this is all too little, too late." This woman has not signed the paperwork, but she is done. She has mentally and emotionally left this marriage. Each day that he just refused to do anything in this house was a day that this divorce was writing itself. He deserves to be single. And so many of these dudes act like, "Oh my God, women just need to follow a man. Women need to submit, blah, 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 blah." If you can't even lead your own self to clean up a mess after yourself, if you can't lead yourself to wash your butt properly, if you can't lead yourself to the grocery store without a color by number list, like with color codings and all of that, no one needs to submit to you because you can't even submit to yourself. This is the reason why these dudes will continue to be lonely, because they're having issues cultivating friendships with other men. They can't relate to women on any kind of level that makes sense. And these women are getting fed up and fed up quicker. They're talking in social media networks like this, social media platforms like this. And we're talking. This is unacceptable because they know how to keep their areas clean at work. Why can't they do it at home? They don't want to because they see you as a wife appliance and you're going to do it because, you just do it better. You were born with a uterus, so you do it better. Walk away from these people, make them lonelier until they learn. They will either adapt or not. They can wallow in their own squalor by themselves over there. Let's look at some of the comments. Natter Jacket says, turned out the thing you wanted him to change was giving an F about you, not the dishes. And that hasn't changed. The OP says, this is such a good way of putting it. Possible Way says, also, it's common for men to change when threatened with change. And the second they feel comfortable, you got trapped again. They will stop. Falling Uphill says, mine only changed after I left and filed for divorce. Seems he can do the necessary stuff after all. By then I was done and knew if I went back, he'd just slack off again. His work schedule gave him a full week off each month and 3-day weekends, but no time for basic stuff. I felt that since he didn't want to cook or clean, I packed all that up with me when I left. He had to buy all new cookware, utensils, sheets, towels, and a vacuum. Good for her. 530 SS State says, mine magically changed after I kicked him out. Suddenly he was able to do chores, drive a car, and hold down a regular job. Of course, all of it was too late to be of any benefit to me, but hey, the next woman has a pretty sweet deal. Falling Up the Hill responds with, let's be honest, she won't have any better than you. We here know he'll slide right back as soon as possible and fast track her into servitude for himself. Go forward in your life with this knowledge. Use your experience to raise the bar higher and understand you won't stay or stand for it. My personal motto now, better to be single and happy than as a couple and be unhappy. This is where women are right now. So many women are going to be single because they have tried it. And they're like, nah, not for me. I don't need to do this anymore. Rod says people can and do change, but only if they want to. The impulse to start changing can and often does come from without, but the motivation to go through the change must come from within. As for the OP's husband, maybe he has decided he wants to change. Maybe he's just afraid she'll leave him. Either way, it seems too late for their marriage. I wonder if that's a man. This person at the bottom says exactly, they don't change. Why would they? They like the way things are. They like their role and they love your role. Every single action or inaction is a choice. Inaction is still a choice. Magic Merlin says, good for you. Countess Cat says, after an experience similar to OP's, I'm left believing that people don't change. I've seen him change multiple times just to get back to the same old habits as soon as I let my guard down a little. Basically, it was like, hey, you do X, Y, and Z, and I don't like it. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll change. Please forgive me. Proceeds to do X, Y, Z 2 weeks later. Rinse and repeat. Cypress Green says, you just described my ex down to the 2 weeks. He even admitted to it to a mutual friend in an email I was CC'd on, then later claimed he never wrote it, even when shown the email. He told me my level of cleanliness was unreasonably high, so he was only obligated to do it to his reasonable level. At some point with some of these things, I just think that everybody just needs their own separate home. That is what I'm getting from all of these stories. But I do want you to chime in. Let me know what you think. Is this woman done? I feel like she's done. But I want you to chime in, drop your stories, your comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And over on YouTube, I'm aiming for 85,000 subscribers. So if you're watching this and you haven't yet subscribed, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button.